Okay, well, I let this set overnight and to make sure the epoxy is all cured up nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take all the clamps off of this. Now, yesterday I was talking about, or earlier I was talking about using CA glue on this. So you can use CA glue. I didn't mean to say that you couldn't use CA glue, but if you are going to use a CA glue, you definitely need to get this thing all aligned and using your clamps before you start hitting it. You know, obviously you can't, for something like this, you can't glue it, you know, piece by piece and stick it together, because you have to be able to kind of get it all correctly aligned. So you can do that with just your clamps and stuff and then hit it with your CA glue. The other thing I said that I was thinking about was that I wasn't sure when CA glues sort of came in to the hobby. Now, I know that when back in the 80s when I built this kit originally, I used Zap CA. So I know CA's been around for a long time. And so anyhow, so the plans, you know, they say for epoxy, but I think that's a good choice. But you can use CA glue, and no issue with that. But anyhow, so right, let me pull these clamps off of here, and we'll take a look, see how it came together. Get this guy out of here, and then here's this back one right here. These are great little clamps. These are DeWalt. There's other ones. I get these, you know, let's go to Home Depot, whatever. They're a few bucks a piece. Every time I go there, maybe I'll buy one or two. Not every time, but a lot of times. All right, so anyhow, here is the first step in the fuselage. So now I just need to sort of sand this off and make sure some of these joints, I have to just make sure they're smooth along here on both sides, and then we'll go ahead and we'll add the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to use I just have one of these sanding blocks. I have a couple different kinds, and I can use it for something like this right here. Just kind of get this cleaned up. Okay, so I did most of the sanding to see, and I'm dry fitting the upper and lower parts. You can see down here, and pull this off of here without snapping it off of there. So there's the back end tail section nicely. I can sand this piece a little bit later. Oop. Then the front end, what happens is this piece, which is the lower portion on the front, is going to sit on here like this. And if you look at the wood on the side here, you can see, whoa, you can see here that it's just because of the way it's, you know, this is squared and this is coming down, there'll be a little bit of a high spot on this side, and I want this to sit, you know, flush. So I'm just going to go ahead and sand that edge down, and to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to use a roto tool. I always feel like a dentist when I do that. So, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up. That just helps me get it going. Then I'm gonna do the rest by hand. So let me finish that up. Okay, I think I got everything kind of sanded nicely so I can fit on the lower and upper the top and the bottom pieces. But one thing I'm gonna do is, if you look inside here, this is the servo tray that we put in earlier. Now the plywood is pretty thin. So I want the servos to have a little bit more, the screws for the servos to have a little bit more to bite into. So I'm going to use scrap. Remember, I kept my pieces, and I found actually two pieces that are going to fit really nicely. And I'm going to put those inside here like that, right here. And I'm just going to CA those in, and then when I have it upside down, so now it's going to look like that. So when I put the servos in here, I'll have more, the screws will have a little bit more to bite into. So anyhow, let me do that real quick. All right, so like I said, whoever designed this type of cap for a CA glue obviously was maybe just knows how to torture people, because it's so hard. These things kind of they get kind of stuck on there, and then you have to monkey around with it to get it off of there. Ugh, pain in the neck. All right, let's get this in here. Ugh. Of course, it's plugged up. All right. All right, let's try it again. Here we go. Pop this side. I'm going to sandwich this in. Hopefully I won't glue my fingers together, but try it here on this side. And this won't add very much weight, so it's not a big deal. But it will make me happy when I go put my servos on here to have a little bit more. All right, so there we go. Well, we got him on that side back in there. Okay, cool. Let me find my lid, cap. Look at this thing. I mean, come on. Come on, CA people. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the sides, and I'm gonna go ahead and use a 30-minute epoxy for the top and the bottom. I gotta judge how much I need here. I might think I'm gonna have actually more to glue on these sides, because I have these are both long contacts. So I'll try to eyeball this in. 30 minutes. You know, sometimes it starts to cure. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it takes slower. Obviously that has to do with if you mix them correctly. If you do a little more than one or the other, then it's going to be slower or longer. Also the weather, sometimes if it's hotter, it seems like it cures faster. So anyhow, trial and error, just do your best. Okay, so this is going to be the top piece, which is right here. Like this is going to sit like that on here. So let's go ahead and get this on here, considering we have 30 minutes. Ooh, I got a lot on there, shoot. Okay. And I'll go back and I'll wipe this off. Go right to here. So obviously it's not very easy to work with an epoxy compared to just gluing it with a CA but I think in this case I can do it, and considering this wood is old, I don't mind giving it a better bond. Although if it does break, it's not going to break where the epoxy is. It's going to break probably across the wood. That would be great. That's kind of what happened with so I said I built one of these a long time ago. It was sitting in my garage for many years, and when I got back into the hobby, I decided to restore it and got it going, and I was happy to fly. It was the first time I've been flying for many years, and it flew great, and I was flying it for several months. And then one day I was just kind of screaming around the sky. I wasn't pushing it too hard, and then all of a sudden the right wing, or the left wing I should say, just imploded or exploded, and the thing went down in a major crash. I actually have pictures of some of that, so I'll probably do a little short thing on that, little restoration, but it was pretty cool. It was cool while it lasted, and that's why I wanted to build this one, because I wanted to rebuild it, or build this kit again. All right, let's pop this on here. Oh, did I put the wrong? No, I got it. Okay. There we go. And then once we get the other side done, we will go ahead and get it to clamp it all together. I think what I'm going to do is I have a piece of tape here real quick. I'm going to put this down here just to help me hold it right now, if I can. Pop it off of there. knowing that I'm running out of time. Okay, that's good. That'll hold that one down. That little side's kind of sticking up. So we'll come back and we'll clamp this, but we got to work. Keep going here. All right, so this piece is going to go all the way to the front. It's going to go all the way to here and all the way back. So let's get going here. All right, got that on there. I had to mix up a little batch off camera, just so that I had enough. There we go, pop that on there. Okay, so good. So now we got to clamp it. So let's start clamping. All right, so what you can see here is I've got it all clamped, kind of gone clamp wild on this thing, but you have to kind of do that. Now you don't have to use clamps, but maybe tape or rubber bands, things like that, Velcro strips, but those things don't always work out the best. So like I said before, I've got tons of clamps. You know, I got clothespins, I got these little clamps here from tools. I even have some sort of like these kind of things for office supply clamps. These guys come in handy. You know, they all kind of serve a purpose. You'll find a way to use them. So anyhow, got it all. So I got the top and the bottom. What I don't have is this part, right? There's this piece right under here, which is for the landing gear. And I think I can put that in here like this. Maybe I can put that one in and just use rubber bands to hold it down. So that's what I'll do next. I'll get that on here. Flip this over here. All right, so I don't need as much for this one. Let's put a little bit in there. That's probably good. A little bit more. All right. I don't know about you, but every time I go fast food or whatever, I keep all these little cups, condiments and things like that. I got a pile of them. These are good for mixing your paints, if you're going to do painting or other things, or your glues, your epoxies, whatever. Even using it to hold little parts and things. All right, let's go ahead and mix this up here. We'll put this bottom piece on. You know, I've never put together a plane entirely using epoxy. I'm not going to do this on the wing. I will use epoxy for some of it, but this is a much slower process, that's for sure. Like I said, you could do this with CA, or you can even clamp it with, if you were going to use like the wood glue. In fact, if you're using the wood glue, it'd probably been a lot easier because it's easier to work with. Obviously, you don't have to mix it. But this is going to be nice and strong. I've got to be careful. I don't want to glue my clamps onto the airplane, but I think I'll be all right with that. Okay, let's pop this guy on here. It's going to slide right onto these guys. Okay, good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and shift this guy over here a little bit onto here. There we go. And then for the front end, oops, there it pops off again. There it goes. Good. And then for the front end, let me switch this. Pop this over here. It's like a clamping nightmare. There we go. That'll get that joint nice. Okay. Now for the front end, I'm going to go use good old-fashioned rubber bands. Where are they? Oh, here we go. I don't know if I can do a double on that. Let me see here. Okay, so I did the rubber bands on the front. Good old-fashioned rubber bands. And the thing's all clamped together. So what I'm going to do now is I think I can put in the landing gear blocks that go inside here to hold the landing gear in place. So let me get those out and get them fit. I can fit them in there, then I can stick them down inside there. Okay, let's look at the landing gear real quick, or how it goes in. So if you look at this picture, this diagram from the instructions, what you can see is that there's these 3 blocks. These 2 side blocks have a slot cut into them, and the landing gear slides up into those slots on either side. Now what you'll notice is that the landing gear wires are, they're just not one piece, it's actually 2 pieces, so they kind of, there's 2 of them in there. And because of that, the where they bend upwards, they're going to be offset because there's the thickness of the wire. So when you look at the plan view of this thing, look it out here. I feel like I'm reading the newspaper. Look at the plan view, if you can see this here. Maybe you can see it or not. But right here, you can see how that little slot is offset from this little slot. See that? If you can, hopefully you can see that. So basically how they do that is they give you these 2 blocks, and if you look at them this way, they look like they're lined up, the holes, but actually what you do is you flip it this way. So they're going to be in there like that, offset. So they're going to be sitting in there like that, and that way the landing gear wire can obviously, like I said, can slide into there. So that's what we're going to do. Pull the landing gear out. Check it out here. This is just real simple landing gear. So yeah, so it's going to go like that. Ooh, hold it together. Yeah, so it's going to go, it'll go like that. And because of that, like I just said, the blocks are going to have to be offset. So that's like a little thing, going to make sure when you're building something like this to be watch out for. So all right, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll epoxy these into the bottom. They're going to sit like this. Put this in here like that. So that's going to be sitting like that down inside there. Okay, all right, let's do that right now. Okay, well here we go. So for the landing gear, for sure, this definitely, we're going to use an epoxy for this. And I'm going to put this on here. I guess I'll put it in here, start down here. Now this is where you can, don't be skimpy with the epoxy when you're doing this. All right, so here we go. So I did it off camera because it was down inside there, and it's kind of hard to, I wanted to make sure I got it right, so I didn't want to screw it up again. But let's pull this off of here. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't know, does that help? Yeah, there it is. Kind of messy, but it's inside and it's going to be nice and strong, so you're not going to see it anyhow. So, all right. Okay, so the fuselage is stuck together and put together now. Still have to do this little, this is a hatch. This is going to be the hatch. This is the gas tank's going to go in here. Still have to put the engine mounting rails in here. So still a few more things to do, but I do want to let this sit overnight and cure up again before I mess around too much with it. All right.